Hi everybody. So we're continuing. Me is continuing the series on dark psychology and how it relates to the abuse cycle. As I've said in previous videos, if you have not seen the series on the neuroscience of abuse, it's on my channel. It's down there or over there or over there. It's on my playlists. You will get so much more out of this series if you check out the neuroscience first, because when you listen to the things I'm telling you with a scientific understanding of what's going on in your brain, a lot more of this is going to make sense. So dark psychology, as I've said previously, is it's an unethical application of things like seduction, pickup, etc. So dating books, dating advice is rife with good tips on how to build a relationship, how to keep a relationship strong, how to be a good date, what women want, what men want, etc., etc., etc. But dark psychology is somewhat of a perversion of it, and it enables abuse. And with my personal history, as I've said previously, whenever I was divorced, I was a shit date. I couldn't get any dates, so I studied dating and some pickup arts and seduction and all of that. And in less than a month, I went from getting no second dates to having more dates than I knew what to do with. Like literally, I had more females than I had days in the week, and it was cool for like all of 5 minutes, and then I was like, Jesus, A, I can't even afford that many dates, and B, I got too many people that are wanting me to make them happy. So it's a mixed basket for sure. But so what I want to talk about now is a tactic that is very, very key, I think, especially in the early stages, creating a false sense of security. Because if you're going to abuse somebody, the first thing is you want to be their source of security. You want them to invest themselves, their security, their safety. The safety and security is a hugely personal, hugely private, extremely important thing. And so when you've picked the right victim, somebody who's insecure, somebody who has no sense of security, low self-esteem, looking for a way out, and they find that safety and that security with you, they're going to feel safe with you. They're going to feel secure with you. You start sending them mixed signals. They start internalizing the potential loss of security, the potential loss of safety. And so in the early stages of abuse, your abuser is going to create a false sense of security in you. Move in with me. I don't know why you're still living in this shithole apartment. It's like, man, you've had a rough go at it. You know what? Like, we should move in together. Like, why not? I've got a decent place. I like you. Let's move in together. And so then they create this false lure of security, and you associate them with being secure. And the opposite is true, because this is just something that I heard the other day. It was a woman was posting saying that she was trying to leave her abusive husband, and that the relationship was 90% bad and 10% good, and that she wanted to kick him out. And she said, but I just can't kick that man. I just can't kick him out into the street. I just can't kick him out into the street because he doesn't have a job and he suffers from depression. And I was like, is he a pet? Like, is he a goldfish that, like, you can't just put the goldfish out on the street because it'll, like, fucking suffocate in the air and die? No. You're acting like he's like a pet or like a cripple, not a man capable of getting a fucking job and holding down a shitty apartment, right? But it's because of that false sense of security. If you've been abused and you've had that feeling that your security could leave you at any time and leave you totally vulnerable and totally exposed, then the opposite is true if you're an empath. You don't want to make somebody feel that way. And that's how you end up moving in with a narcissist or an abuser of some sort. They create that false sense of security with you. they send you the mixed signals, so you feel like, you know, if you don't straighten up and make this person happy, you could lose your security, your source of security, and be vulnerable. And so then you're like, oh shit, I better straighten up, and I better, you know, I better do what I can to keep this relationship going, because I don't want to be out on the street. And then because you're an empath, then that turns around, and then they are, you know, going through. I mean, they quit their job. Literally, what happened with me and my ex-wife, right? They end up quitting their job, sitting at home, and they come up with excuses like, oh, you know, I've got back pain. Fibromyalgia is probably the biggest bullshit taken advantage of term that I think I've ever heard of. If you don't know, it's basically just an undiagnosable source of pain, and it is a real thing. But my ex-wife faked having fibromyalgia. She's self-diagnosed and very convincingly convinced me that she was in constant pain. It was all an act. And she used it as her justification to sit at home and sit on her ass and do nothing while I worked. And then, you know, they're good at making you feel like, you know, when you kick them out, that you're, you know, just, I don't know, tossing them into a volcano is what they make it sound like. Like, you know, okay, get a fucking job, sleep on a couch for a couple of weeks, get a job and get a place. Done. You know, there's lots of roofs out there, not just mine. I'm not the only person with a roof. You're not living in a fucking tent, are you? So it goes two ways, you know. You create the false sense of security. You make them feel safe with you, and vice versa. If they've sucked you in and you've been the victim, and they've ended up putting you in charge and you being the provider of security, and then, you know, whenever you get sick of their bullshit and they're like, man, you know what? Like, sometimes I just wish you would leave, and then be like, really? Because whenever I met you and you were, and you know, you weren't exactly a catch when I met you, but I saw potential in you. Yeah, you know, I mean, you had your issues, you had your problems, and what did I do? Did I ever once threaten to kick you out? Fuck no, I didn't. You know what I did? I stuck by your side. But now that I'm the one with the problems, you want to just kick me out? That's fucking cold. That's low, because I would have never done something like that to you. So it works two ways like that, and that's how you can end up with, you know, just a pet abuser. They don't contribute anything to you. They mooch off of you, and they make you feel like shit as they mooch off of you. So anyways, that's about all I got on this one. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.